Scooby-Doo!
Live and in person here from Epping, New Hampshire. Whether you want it or not, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. What a beautiful day. We've had another day today. Again, this heat wave just does not want to see last night, and that was very good. And right now, it's looking like we're going to be getting some more in, so we're going to have to be careful. Number of things going on. I want to do a couple of three things. Autumn Richards, young lady, you've done tremendous work. Congratulations to you. 9 having that young one coming and so forth. You've done an awful lot to get things straight for you, and pretty soon you're going to have your baby. Congratulations on all directions. All right, Mr. Blazeman, without going any further, why don't we go ahead and run up the... I hope we're still there. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all. And when I say all, I mean all people, no matter what race, creed, talk to God, if you whatever you come to. We thank you very much for being here when you came here, provided you did it the right way. If here, right, you're doing things wrong and it is unfair to others who came here and did things right, please come back. And also, at that point, you can enjoy the blessings of our nation. A couple things going on over here. I'm gonna just broach a few things, and we got a really big show coming. Now, quick reference for Biden administration is going into a meltdown. Things about his interviews and things that he said and everything else. On top of everything else, news has literally just come out that. Remember, I said that President Biden, that was going to wind up being his exit strategy. Well, no, he didn't have a stroke, but now they say, oh, President Biden has COVID. Now, of course, on top of the fact that more and more of the democratic society that's out there, he suddenly happens to have COVID. Well, we wish him very, very well. And hopefully someone gives him a nice dose of info to recover, but you don't think that I see that happen. That all having to say that, so people are hitting this look on him. Secret Service holding true to every play from the left wing. Biden administration, lie, fib a little. This is all taking it. It's blowing up. And Biden administration, lie. I'm hearing in my background some feedback from someone. If someone would be able to mute that would be nice. Thank you very much. Pick exactly the right building to walk up to and climb up on. Aren't any law enforcement people that are there, and get up onto this, and knowing that it has a direct line of sight, especially when the kid isn't from the area. How did all of this happen? All right, ladies and gentlemen, I promised you a wonderful show, and we are going to have a wonderful show. We have waiting back off stage at the moment, long time friend of mine, Olivia Smirlicki. Germano. Lady is a wife, mother of person, active in her community, incredibly active, authoress or has co-authored 5 books, married 26, also been an assistant scoutmaster for a great period of time. We got another thing. This is this. You can see this. My Amelia. And when I got it, I figured I'm gonna, and I'll disclose this. When I opened this book and started reading it, I could not put it down. I did. Damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead. It compelled me because the story was so good. All right, but before going any further into this, Mrs. Olivia Smirligate Germano. Mr. Glazeman, would you bring out our guest, please? Good evening, Olivia. Good to see you.
Hello, everyone. Well, Jeff, nice to see you again.
And welcome. We have some new
you.
viewers that are coming in. Some people all the way from down in Texas, where I happen to have people are apparently friends of yours. They wrote to me and said, "How can we get to see this show?" Gave me from Kentucky, our friends that are out in Florida, and all of the other viewers that are out there. Thank you very much for tuning in. You're not going to want to turn this. You're not going to want this lady that is here has written not one but 5 or co-authored as well. 5 books, and I hope you don't mind, Olivia, that I'm a person. I realize that there are 2 genders, a male and a female, and a woman just. Damn it all, a woman deserves the right to have the distinction. I hope you agree with that. And I say that there are 2 genders.
Of course.
Male and female.
You're correct in that too.
Anything else that. Thank you so much. All right. All the information that I put out there about your life up to now. I mean, a little something about this thing. How did you wind up an assistant scoutmaster?
Well, having 5 children, you want to be involved with whatever they want to do. And scouting was one of very important things that I think that kids should be involved in. It does talk about faith. It does talk about the country, community, service. And I was just a perfect fit for our family, perfect fit for our kids. And, you can't expect others to do things. You have to jump right in and you have to do it.
That's fantastic. I might Cub Scouts and the Boy Scouts and went into scouting. And as an adult, after I turned 18, I was Scoutmaster with Boy Scouts of America Troop 17 in New Britain, Connecticut. And I know you're very familiar about that. And off the road to get off. Probably the most important question everybody, and I know, wants to know: who makes the best pierogi?
Oh boy, that's a difficult thing. I'm gonna say my cousin. My cousin Zdzislava makes the best ones out there. Does she have a what?
She has a restaurant. Does she have a restaurant?
No, she doesn't. No, she doesn't. But boy, when you eat her pierogi, it's excellent.
Outstanding. All right. Now I'm gonna get serious, dear. In Connecticut, and I know that they happen to have a very large population of people from Eastern Europe, specifically Poland. 14. Being in hiding for months, you came here.
Yes.
Why were you in hiding from who and for what reason?
So I was born in 1965, giving out my age, but that's okay. I'm proud of that. And that was a very difficult time in Poland. And the further it got into it, the worse it got. I mean, to be honest with you, after World War II, Poland got sold off. We were basically given away to the Soviet Union to do it as whatever they want to do with us. And unfortunately, they brought in communism and control, and they took away our freedom. They took away our ability to be who we wanted to be, even for many of us, ability to practice our faith. My dad and my mom wanted to come here. My grandpa was here at the turn of the century. He was a citizen of the United States. He came back to Poland. Unfortunately, he never went back. And my father wanted to come here because obviously that was my grandfather's dream to have his family here, and he was forbidden to come. So for years and years and years, he tried to come. Unfortunately, the government has confiscated our paperwork, took everything away from us, broke doors in the middle of the night, and threatened our lives. And we had to eventually hide. And we did for 11 months. We had to be in a safe home. And eventually, with the help of an ambassador, we were able to be smuggled out of the country.
And when you came here, you didn't lag. You didn't drag your feet, not for a second. School.
No.
And I could tell that you were a person who was destined for much greater things than just a person who just lives life to get by, and it's obvious.
Well, thank you, Jeff.
Your your book, My Amelia, which I couldn't put it down until I was literally falling asleep. That I was falling asleep. But in your newest book, it tells of harrowing courage, strength of faith, and unwavering dedication to family, and you still again you retain that quality and true love in the face of true Nazism. So my question to you with all of this is so when uneducated, foolish, American conservatives, Nazis, I would like you to tell me, please, or tell us, please, what it is.
It's very upsetting because, frankly, there is a huge difference between folks that want to do good and folks that want to kill, murder, maim, destroy. So when someone calls us Nazis, they obviously have no idea what they're talking about. And they use those words very loosely instead of finding out what it's all about, instead of realizing that by saying that they're actually nullifying all the things that the Nazis did, destruction, murder. And it's hurtful. It's very hurtful.
Now, it's difficult to see, and I have seen, not directly, but I have, and so forth, documentary things that are actually that are actual hard evidence here in the United States, down in Washington D.C. I've seen things, but your family, you have, and your family has been steeped in and it I remember a fellow that I met. His name was Sig Walder, and he was a person who was liberated from Auschwitz-Birkenau. He was a fellow that I dealt with for a great many years. He's a wonderful man. I remember the very first time when I met him, I saw He had a tattoo on his arm, and I froze. And he saw me looking at it and froze. He said, "Jeff, it's all right. Do with it." And that's all that was ever said. But
Well,
I'm going to read now from your book.
Of
I'm
course,
sorry?
go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
Of course, go ahead.
In the prologue, they took nothing with them and left nothing behind, as even their meager prevent spread of the disease. Amelia closed her eyes tightly. Tears stained her cheeks as she prayed. May they and let perpetual light shine upon them. May the souls of the faithful departed, through the mercy of God, rest in peace. Amen. Without sending them off with a proper prayer. So after all that, they had gone directly into the arms of the Lord, and they had all of their sins forgiven. Oddly, she did not blame God, the human race that chose to destroy each other, always seeking to conquer more land, more people, and more things, completely ignoring the fact that in the end, everyone ended up the same, dead, wanting to block out the image in front of her, and prayed. Can anyone imagine a scene like I
Jeff, I have to tell you, I am so honored
don't know.
by being able to know these people. To know them, to hear from them, to be able to pass this on to the next generation, to be able to make sure that it is not forgotten, that people that can call others Nazis, that people that can forget that this country is the most wonderful, most beautiful country in the world, that if we just got along, we can go so far, we can do so much. See, what's happening right now is so similar to communism. Communists did this to us. They stirred neighbor against neighbor. They made sure that we hate each other. The Nazis did the same thing by telling you that somebody was better than you were or somebody was worse than you were. And this is what's happening now. And we have to remember why and what, and that we are God's creatures, regardless of color of the skin, of our faith, of our beliefs. We can go and do anything and everything that we want to do with his love behind us. And that's why I wrote these books, because people forget, they don't know, they don't understand, they're not being taught these things. So I wanted to make sure that what I've had, what I've learned, what I've experienced, I can put out and have other people listen and learn and never repeat this again.
Olivia, from your mouth to God's ears, I pray that is heard.
It is. He will hear us. No doubt. As he's heard
Germany,
my aunt, he will hear us.
Ukraine, at this time, or back in that time, they were all arch enemy committing crimes against humanity to the Polish people. Now we know that
very true.
The threat of Nazism has been cited. It's whatever else, all different things. Is it so different in Poland now, or are these dangers still very real?
I think the location of Poland itself, just the geographical location, does not allow us to ever rest. I think as a country, they need to be always on a watch. They always have to know what they're doing, how they're doing, and ensure that they don't fall asleep because of the geographical location that they were in. Poland had accepted a lot of Ukrainian people that were fleeing. Thousands and thousands of them opened their doors, make sure that those folks have a place to sleep, something to eat, uh, because we're humans and we're supposed to help each other. We're supposed to do that. So it was the right thing to do. But we always have to remember that we're just a border away, just a border away from what has happened before. And we need to always be there and be vigilant and be watchful. Polish folks still have a lot of faith. And I think that faith is going to get them through whatever times they're facing and whatever is going to come in front of them, for sure. But again, vigilance.
Again, these are words that couldn't possibly be uttered better by anyone else that I've ever met. It's absolutely true. I'm going to move forward now. I'm going to read from your book again. They ran for the woods as the bullets flew by trees, hidden heavy brush and away from the pilot's view. Amelia's heart pounded, and she was graying leave. Her friend was very quiet, and as she turned towards her, she saw Anna covered in blood. Her hands were what was left of it. Her face had a look of shock on it as she stared at her wound. Blood seeped between her fingers as she tried to breathe. Amelia knew instantly that Anna was beyond help. Can you please tell us what was going on at this time without revealing everything in the book, of course? But this, even the wording in this story.
No, it's not. Depending on which part of Poland you lived in, whether it was what today is Ukraine or whether it was the center of Poland, each part had experienced different things. And the reason for that was that on September 1st, Germany attacked Poland. But 16 days later, Russia attacked Poland. There was no place for these folks to hide. There was no place for these people to go. There was nothing that they could do but hope for a better tomorrow. Literally, there was nothing else. So the story you're describing is what happened to those two girls, young girls, who were just coming back home. That was the first time that they found the Germans over their heads. And it was a shock in a sense, even though they knew that war was right there, but it was the very first time that it hit them, that it actually was there and that they're part of it. And they didn't want to be part of it. And it came anyways.
Now, that's because your name, or your maiden name, was Smirlicki.
Yes.
And name, what maiden name was Smirlicki as well. So was this a great aunt of yours, or
yes?
Where in the from?
So Amelia is my father's sister. She was very dear to me, as was her husband. We spent many summers together at her house. My father had 11 siblings, so the family was very large. And if you continue reading this book, you will find a little bit more about the family. But you can also read book 1 of this saga, which is called In Search of a Dream, that gives you even further details. But Amelia, my Aunt Amelia, was a wonderful storyteller. She would talk for hours and tell us things from her past, from her family, from the way that they lived, talked about faith, talked about possibilities, and wanted to ensure that we knew her and that we knew our grandparents and great-grandparents and that we learned from them. Because the best thing is to learn from generations prior. So I was very fortunate. She was like my second mom. And because I loved stories and because I loved to write since I can remember, I interviewed her on many occasions and took down notes. And when I got to a point where there was something else that I had interest in, I talked to her even further. And I had the privilege of learning all these things because of her. She's a terrific individual.
Apparently, the lady, she wouldn't be defeated. Nothing. Correct. From what I read inside this book. If you folks are interested in this, there's a little buggy thing over there that QR code thing that you can scan to probably the best money that I've spent, and it's the only ordinary regular book that I have actually enjoyed. My endorsement. But anyway, this lady had tremendous drive as well, and no matter what it was, she had the courage of a freight train. How did she just wind up? How did she wind up developing this?
Family, faith, God. Those are the answers. She would never give up.
A wonder. That's it. Fantastic. And
most definitely.
Truly, she is. Every line inside this exactly that. I don't think this your aunt had a moment of question in her mind, and no matter what the government, no matter what the Oberfuhrers or whatever else did, no matter what anyone did, and got what she needed and got what had
she
to
got
be
things done.
She did. If you don't mind, we gotta take a break. We'll be back in probably about 3.5, 4 minutes time. Germano about her wonderful books. When we come back, Olivia, I'd like you to tell us some more about some of the other books that you got, that you've written, and we'll stick around. We'll see you soon.
Well, I've got spare parts from my last broken heart. Somehow more than what I had to start. Yeah, I've got spare parts. I tried to fix it best I remembered it. I hope it runs when I fire it up, 'cause I got spare parts. So if you see something that you might need, anything you can use, what's left of it might be a perfect fit, 'cause I got spare parts. Took a piece of you, like lovers often do. I'll try to make it good as new, 'cause I got spare parts. So if you see something that you might need, anything you can use, what's left of it might be the perfect fit, 'cause I've got spare parts. What's left of it might be the perfect fit, 'cause I've got spare parts.
Hello, my name is Steven, your Public Relations Officer at FFN Media Network. We believe that every story deserves to be heard, every voice deserves to be amplified, and every idea deserves to shine. As a small media company, we are committed to creating a platform where content creators, visionaries, and changemakers like you can thrive. You might say to yourself, why do we need FFN Network? Well, let me tell you what we can do for you. 1. Our mission is simple: empower, elevate, and engage. We are not just another media outlet. 2. Our producers will help you build your show, add content, and put you on 15 different platforms. 3. We help you promote your show. Whether it is through captivating articles, thought-provoking videos, or inspiring podcasts, we are here to help you make a difference. What sets us apart? At FFN Media Network, we embrace hard work. Our team of talented producers and creators come from all social classes, ensuring that our content reflects a rich tapestry of experiences, cultures, and viewpoints. Join the FFN team. Join FFN Media Network and be part of a community that celebrates creativity, authenticity, and positive impact. Let us amplify your voice and share your story on FFN Network and with the world. Get to know our founder, Blaise St. Pierre, the new guy in the media industry. So if you have a great idea for a show or a business and want to place an ad on FFN Network, give us a call at 774-704-5145 or email us at ffnnetwork9@gmail.com and join the FFN Network family. Thank you. FFN Network.
Welcome back, everybody. Politicking with Mr. B. Smirlecki Germano, writer of and co-writer of 5 books, and the last of which is of my psyche here. Go trying to read all of these things. A book that tells a story that is absolutely true, things that happened back and the evil regimes in the Eastern European theater. Your aunt, she fell in love with a fellow who happened to be another thing that I learned. A great number of things I'm learning from having read your book, but something that I learned that I never knew. They not only and make guns and tanks and this and that, whatever else. They took people from their families and put them in taking other people from to do the work that their children that they had taken away had done. And I didn't happen with your aunt. She went
Yes.
from her family, and she had calloused hands from working the farm, and it's probably maybe saved her. And by the way, before we go further, 508-974-4231. Call in and talk with this. Olivia, please go right ahead.
So yes, unfortunately, there were millions of people in Europe, throughout Poland and other areas, that were taken by force from their homes. They took them from the streets, they took them from their homes. If you were walking, didn't matter. And they transported you and placed you wherever they felt they needed you to do work. They were basically slaves. Literally, they were slaves. They couldn't leave. They were not allowed to do anything. They were ordered to do things, and that's what they had to do. There were literally millions of them, millions. And it's unfortunate that a lot of folks here today don't understand and realize that. Because I think if they did, they would look at what we're going through in our country right now a little bit different. And yes, she was an incredible individual that found love in the most unusual places, away from her home. And she was very young. We have to keep that in mind. She was 16 years old at the time. Just pretty incredible to have that kind of an ability to maneuver through a very difficult, tough life, difficult, tough time. And yes, she did fall in love, and they lived together for over 60 years, which is pretty incredible nowadays. And I do have to say, there was so much in love till his last days. Absolutely incredible marriage, incredible family, incredible story.
And I'm certain from that incredible marriage, you got an awful lot of.
Hey, caller, you're on the air with POLI-TICKING with Mr. B.
Hello, how are you? Hello?
Hello?
Hi, I'm calling in for the show.
Yeah, could you speak a little louder and maybe tell us where you're from?
Sure. So, I am actually, my name is Catherine. I am from Springfield, Massachusetts. And, I also read Olivia's book and also really liked it. And I just had a couple questions for the author. Can you hear me better now?
A little bit, yes.
Yes. Can you hear her okay, Olivia?
I heard that she's from Massachusetts, and she read one of my books, and she had a question. Which book did you read?
So I read In Search of a Dream.
Couldn't
So
hear.
my question is, In Search of a Dream?
In Search of a Dream. Okay.
Yes, In Search of a Dream.
That's the first part of the Maya Amelia, yes.
Yes. So my question to you is, which scene did you find the most meaningful and impactful writing in that book, and how do you think it connects to your current book, the most recent?
Okay, so I'll start with how it connects to the current book. So when my grandfather came back from America, a lot of different things happened, and it stopped him from being able to return. The second book picks up from that point and explains why he stayed behind, what happened to him, and where he ended up, and then where Amelia traveled from, because it just flows one into the other, basically. And your second question was, which one was the most memorable one in the Search of a Dream? That's a difficult one.
Yes, that's right.
So obviously, the beginning of the book, the introduction, gives you a little bit of my own story. The story about our own survival, our own dream of coming here. So obviously that's very dear to me. But I think what I liked about the whole book is that my grandfather tried very, very hard to come back to the United States at the very end. But if you read the very beginning of the book, he wasn't even sure he wanted to be here. He just wanted to be able to make a little bit of money and come right back home. But then he fell in love with this country. He fell in love with everything that it has to offer. He fell in love with the freedom, with the ability to do and be what you want to be. And I think seeing that and then comparing it to my own feelings of how much I love this country even before I got here because of his love, I think that was the point that I'm trying to make. And that's what was really important to me in that book. Did that answer?
Yes, that definitely answers my question. And I'm so excited to purchase your newest book and continue the story with your family. So I know that, another question, I know that in your writing, a lot of your themes surround the importance of family, the importance of God and religion, and as well as loyalty and strength. Now, in your own personal life, how do you think those themes portray in that way? Do you connect with the characters on that level as well? Does that come out in your writing?
Yes. I have been very blessed in my life for many reasons. But one of those blessings is the faith that my parents passed on to me. But I can give you a little bit of example why this faith is so important. When I was a little girl, it was very difficult for us to practice our faith. The communists had forbidden us to practice faith. They didn't want us to go to church. Some people had to hide, some of my cousins, with their marriages, that they were married in the Catholic Church. Some couldn't tell them that they christened their children. And I vividly remember one Christmas where we went to Mass. And the Mass was outside because there were so many people that were attending the service and our church was still being built. And that's another story in a church, how it was built. But because that was forbidden as well. And at one time we were surrounded by the army. We were surrounded by all these tanks with guns pointed at us. And they were just waiting for us to turn and do something, make some sort of a move. And Father said to us, make sure that you don't do anything, that you don't move, that you don't provoke them. And they tried harder and harder, and eventually they threw gas at us. And all Father said to us was, please make sure that all the, children and the elderly and the sick go in the middle, and the men stay outside and protect the rest. And we did. And we outwaited them. We were there for 3 hours before they finally gave up, outside in the cold, in the snow. That's why my faith is so strong, because I know that I had to fight to be able to practice. Where here in United States, we have the benefit of being able to practice, go to church, pray, and speak about God anywhere that we are, anywhere that we go. We can wear our crosses, we can do whatever that we wish to do. And that's why I'm said sometimes that people don't practice their faith, because we had to fight for it. I had to at one time actually leave the window of the school to be able to attend church services, attend CCD. I signed my name in, and then I opened the window and I climbed out and I went to church. Most people don't have to live with that. And that's why my faith is so strong. And yes, I live it every day because I'm so grateful for the life that God's given me. I'm grateful for everything that I have. Thank you for that question.
Many young people nowadays, young people nowadays don't have a full appreciation for their faith, do not see how hard the people that came before them fought for that. And it's so important. I agree. And I can see in your writing, you really convey how important it is to, always fight for it, and to always, to stick with it. And I can see it touching in many different aspects of your writing. And you know what, that's something that sticks out to me that I really appreciate.
Thank you.
What do you think you're going to write about next? Do you think you're going to continue with the same themes, or do you think you're going to venture out into something else?
I'm definitely going to continue to write. I took a little bit of a break between book 1 and book 3 because in book 2, because I was asked to do some folk tales and ghost stories in a local area, which turned out to be a 3-book series that are absolutely amazing stories, also including their faith, also including all kinds of things. And there's another one right there. And that took me a little bit of time. But yes, I am going back. I have actually plots for 3 other stories that are going to be coming out within the next couple of years. I will continue with the Zmorlicki family, but I will also move onto my mother's side of the family, which also has incredible stories of perseverance, and also World War II stories, the one that I'm going to be writing next, where my 2-year-old mother was smuggled out of Ukraine in a potato sack.
Wow.
And
unbelievable.
Just incredible story of their faith and their ability of survival. And those are, again, the stories that I need to pass on to my generations and to generations of other people that did not hear that. They don't talk about this in school. They don't teach our children anything like this. And they need to, because if we don't know the past, we cannot learn from our mistakes, and we cannot have a good future. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I was very busy raising 5 children, as anybody that has more than one knows, even when they have one, but it's time. It's time. I have written a lot of little notes here and there. I've done a lot of research over the years. Now it's time that it all comes on paper.
I'm very excited to see what you're going to come out with next.
I want to thank you very much for calling in. We want to take in, because we're trying to call in, I believe. Thank you very much for calling.
Thank you so much.
And we hope to, I'm sure, Olivia, and we'll talk to you again soon. Thank you so much for your call.
Thank you.
Okay, books, Olivia, that you just wrote. Now, I understand you co-wrote a book on.
Yes, it's actually a book that's called Echoes on a Hill, and Echoes on a Hill is a book 3 of the local history series. It all started with our son wanting to do his Eagle project, Timothy, and he chose to do a little bit of work there up on a hill, and that's why it's Echoes on a Hill, which used to be an old amusement park which had a lot of acreage of uncleaned walkways and foundations that were hidden. And he reclaimed all those walkways and found a lot of information about the amusement park, put out 13 signs. And during all his research, an idea of putting this book together came in mind. And he did some of the research. I added more to the research, and we put this into a book. Very interesting.
Wow. Wow. As a side note, your son, has he completed his requirements for
Yes.
his being ascended to Eagle?
Yes, he's been an Eagle for since 2019.
Oh, all right. Well, congratulations to him,
Thank you.
sir.
Yes, we have another son who is actually just finished his Eagle, and he's just doing all his paperwork. His name is Daniel, and he did some work to in the local center of town at a little gazebo, put in 7 benches and 2 little free libraries. And he just finished that, and people started using it and are truly enjoying it. And some of the 2 little libraries, actually have beautiful paintings done by a wonderful artist. Her name is Catherine. And those are murals. Those murals that are painted on there are from the amusement park that was called Suburban Park. And the 2 other books that I was telling you about is one is Folk Tales and Ghost Stories. It's this one right over here. And there is 10 different stories in this one. And this one's called What We Cannot See. And that one, after those stories are about different folk tales of things that happened. There was a stewardess that fell out of the sky over Farmington. Very interesting story. There is 8 robberies that were foiled by an agent. There is a story of Will Warren's Den, which is a fantastic story. Hospital Rock. There's just tons and tons of things that could have happened in any place. So if you can replace Unionville and Farmington with any name, it still happened. They are very interesting. They're fast-paced. There's a murder story in there. There is a body that was discovered without a head. Just terrific things. It was a great project to work on, for sure.
As a long-standing member of the quick question for you, are you aware of the things that happened down there? I believe it was 1955, 38 that came through. I don't know if you know of any of that thing, and if so, do you have any plans to do any writing about that event?
There is actually a story of a flood of 1955 with some mention of flood of 1938 in the book What We Cannot See. And I don't know if you follow baseball, but if you know Dick McAuliffe, he's from Unionville. He actually lived right down the road from where we are. And there is a beautiful story about his life and his part in 1955 flood and how that flood changed the entire path of his baseball career.
Wow.
Hard to believe, but it did.
Wow. So I've asked, you answered. You've already done the work. Now I'm doing that. It's a fantastic thing. Ladies and gentlemen, we are about out of time. This has been Politicking with Mr. B, the most scintillating, if you will, guests that I have had to date.
Well, thank you.
On this program, Olivia Smirlicki, yourself, multifaceted, and it seems like every time I knock on the door, another surprise. I'm like, and everyone is an absolute delight. Will you please agree to come back and grace us again with some more stories as
Absolutely, Jeff, for sure.
what's wonderful. Anybody want to say? Guess what? Here I am.
Hello, everybody. It's good to meet you all, and I hope you get a chance to get to know me through my books and learn and keep up the faith. Tomorrow is yet to come.
All right. This has been a week when Mr. B. This one's going down in the history books. Mr. Blazeman, it's been a wonderful evening, but unfortunately, as you. So I'm going to say good night, good health, and by all means, as we've heard, stay faithful, pray, and we'll see you all.
You have just watched an FFN Network production.